First of all, let's begin with your reaction to this interview. MBS telling Fox News that a possible Saudi-Israeli rapprochement is near. His first interview with a Western broadcaster since 2019. Some very significant commentary. Your reaction?
Well, it's very important, and I think he phrased it rather well, actually. He says we're getting closer and closer every day. That's a good way of putting it, because I think that what's happening is the U.S. and Saudi Arabia are making enormous strides towards bridging the huge bilateral differences between them, and Saudi Arabia becoming more and more willing to normalize with Israel. The U.S. finding ways of addressing Saudi Arabia's requests, right, like a defense pact. And they're now toying with something that's very similar to the defense treaties with South Korea and Japan that were forged in the early 50s. And I think that that's a very good approach. It avoids the pitfalls, gives the Saudis, I think, what they need. And it's very smart. There are ideas on the table for dealing with Saudi Arabia's nuclear energy program, though the U.S. would have a lot of scrutiny over it. And, I think there's a real path to getting acceptance in the Senate. And the bigger question, ultimately, is whether the Israelis can be brought on board. Because if this were workable as just a bilateral U.S.-Saudi deal, we'd have it already, or we'd be very close to getting it, and we'd have it before the election. But it only works from the American point of view as a triangular deal involving the Israelis as well, because I think what Washington is trying to do is consolidate all of its key military partners into a sort of a ring surrounding the Arabian Peninsula to defend the key waterways in that area: the Red Sea, the Arabian Sea, the Gulf of Oman, and the Persian Gulf. And these three choke points, the Strait of Hormuz, the Bab el-Mandeb Strait, and the Suez Canal, through which so much global commerce, and especially Chinese energy imports and manufactured exports flow. It's the U.S. trump card in great power competition with China.